And that's precisely what we're doing when we take people out in nature, to help them tap into the more primal aspects of their knowing. And this is part of exactly what happens. Yes.
You had your hand up from the beginning.
I've heard you talk about the transformation that occurs in the retreats, and that this higher field is created between individuals or uncovered. And so I'm wondering, in your experience, what you've seen are the keys to stabilizing that field, and then also creating sustainable kind of systems so that it can stay in that.
Yeah.
So that it's not just an experience,
Yeah, exactly.
but that it's actually a new way of being.
Yeah. So that's the $100 million question, isn't it? Because we do know we can do this in these closed environments that we create. The question is, how do you do what you're suggesting, not only among these people individually, so they go out, and do this work themselves, but how would you do it in an organizational system of some sort? And that's where a lot of our work is being concentrated right now. So, for example, we know that it's almost criminal to take people and do this work like in one of these labs and do that retreat and then just leave them alone to their own devices. So we don't know the full answer yet, but we began doing 2-year processes with people, one-on-one and in small focus groups that have come out of this, to help them learn to do this and to deal with this in their life sort of after the retreat. And so that's a major part of our work now, and sort of we're in the process of learning. One of the early times that we did this was Otto and I knew this coming out of that alliance that I was telling you about the first time we did it. And so we couldn't do it with all 30 people that went through this. We took a few people and began doing this longer-term work with them. And it was just astounding results. So this had nothing to do with working with the 30 people. They went back in their own system. One was a refinery manager, right? And the other one was he was head of something called lease trading. Now, the refinery manager, after going through this training after this was over with, and the work that we were doing with him on a sustained basis, ended up going to his top refinery sort of guru, the guy that had control over all 18 refineries, and saying, I would like to do some specific kind of work in this refinery. Would you give me permission to do it? And it's very radical. I mean, it's completely different from the way you're taught to run a refinery, which is the most locked down, rational type of way of operating in the world, because this is the way to prevent accidents, is that you have a specific way of doing things and everybody does it exactly the same way, and you get up in the morning and you wonder, what the hell am I doing in this organization? I'm being told what to do and I have no freedom of choice whatsoever. This guy reversed it completely and began helping people to operate from their deeper way of knowing, other than all these manuals they had to read. Long story short, this guy took that refinery, which was number 18 out of 18, and they have a national survey called the Solomon Survey, and it was in the bottom 5%, right, in the Solomon Survey. In 18 months, it went from worst to first in that 18 unit system by operating in this different way. And he, it's a long story what happened after that, but and the same thing happened in lease trading. So we know it works, but the thing is, it's so intensive, and it's costs so much in normal terms, in terms of time and effort. The question is, how do you do this in a way that is more useful in an organization, so they don't have to spend so much time. So anyway, we're working on that. But it can be done.
Okay, let's do one more.
Thank you. I'd like to build on several of the questions that have been asked. One of the things you talked about was self-imposed boundaries that we each do, and I think you gave us a good example, perhaps. What work or what plans are underway to look at and support, involve young people and children so that those boundaries don't get packed up so thick, so early?
Yeah.
Education.
Yeah, huge thing. So we're not working in that space right now ourselves, but one of our key partners is Peter Senge, and that's one of his real passions. And we know that for this sustainable transformation to take us into the other world that John's talking about, this is where it has to begin. And so we're dedicated to doing that. We just haven't started yet. But Peter has. I bet you'd be willing to work on it. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. I mean, this is the time when you need to do it.
Well, it's everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. That's a very wonderful suggestion, though.
Joseph, thank you so very, very much for being with us. I hope you haven't missed the underlying point here about... it's real easy to think of this perhaps as management, leadership training, and this is essential stuff about how you do large-scale change in intractable situations, which is this is all all the big world problems and the big changing world and all of that. And so this is really important stuff, and we're really very pleased to have you with us. And I hope that we can have a long and warm relationship as we all go forward and live out this next few years, which is going to be very, very, very memorable. Thank you.
Thank you, John.